guys, earlier today I posted a video of an unboxing video of the Exceed RC Drift Star. I actually ran it 2 times, and don't get me wrong, I haven't ran it constantly, so I can't tell you how it handles over time, but I'm gonna tell you right now how the performance of it is. Now, first off, it's actually a fairly sturdy platform for only like $100. Um, now I'm gonna be I got it on sale for $77, which is basically a steal for any RC car that isn't a Walmart car or Tamiya. But then again, I really don't like them anyway. But this is the one I had ordered was the 27 megahertz version, the radio with the long antenna, um, and they actually had sent me the 2.4 gigahertz, which is a bonus because I paid $77 for it, and they wanted 100 for the regular one. So with the 2.4 megahertz. So with that being said, I think I got a pretty good deal on it. A car that was normally $90, got it for 77, and on top of that, I got the version that was 2.4 megahertz. Also, another cool thing I noticed is that this is actually a 3-channel receiver built on here. So if you wanted to get a better receiver, you can feel free to do that. They actually sell one on the site for, I believe, $49.70 or something like that. That's actually another steal for that price. And what that does is, if you were to plug another thing into the other socket, that's right there. It's the top one on the thing. There's a label that says 3 right next to it, which it's the third channel. But if you have a 3-channel radio, you can plug stuff in like light kits and other stuff like that. Press the button and it turns all of them on. It's really cool. I didn't do that though, so because I don't like that stuff. If I want something, I don't need to turn it on and off remotely. It's just not worth the money to me. But when I actually opened the box up, I was very surprised to see that the thing actually has aluminum shocks on it. Now, after closer inspection, I realized that closer in, it actually is plastic. I'm not going to bother moving it closer because you're not going to be able to see it anyway. But they actually look pretty nice, and it's an on-road car, so you don't really need suspension that much. I'm so used to off-road cars, it's just crazy. But you do have to clean this like crazy though, because the tires do have plastic on them, and when they spin, because the body covers up the wheels also, and not just the body itself. So when you go to use it and you go to skid, you do drifts and all that other stuff, or even just running it normally, little shredded plastic pieces get inside. And speaking of, this is a brushed motor and it has vents in it. It's not exactly the healthiest thing for your motor. So what I'm actually gonna probably work on doing a little fix for that. I might put that on here a little bit later on, but it won't be today. We're already at 4 minutes. But it's a great car because of the fact that it also has these adjustable body pins that go up really high, so you can have the body up as high as you want it or as low as you want it. You might want to go just 1 or 2 pins lower than what the stock setting is, though, because of the fact how high the body sits. But then again, you're using a different size battery, that might not matter because it makes the car sit a little bit lower, and that's actually a really good thing because there's more room for it to travel without it actually bumping into the body. So the higher up, the better, but also the more air resistance you have. So it's another bad thing. So it's both a pro and a con. The ESC, or electronic speed control unit, is actually pretty much crap. You're gonna want to change that out. That's maybe a $20–40 change out, I think, depending on which one you want to go. You can get a brushless speed control, though, for as little as maybe $40, ranging all the way. For the one I have on my Rustler, which is an off-road vehicle, is $220. And I mean, the more you can spend, the better you're going to be off, because the less chance you have of it getting fried. And plus, you can run censored and uncensored brushless motors. Personally, I prefer the censored because of the fact that there's more torque, and with drifting, you want more torque. And although brushed motors do have more torque, keep that in mind. They do have a lot more torque because of the fact that in a brushless motor, there's a little sensor in it, and it tries to determine where exactly the shaft is in what part of the rotation, so it can start the magnets at a certain point. With a brushed motor, you don't have that issue because it's pretty much the brushes are what's transferring the electricity to the electromagnets in that, which is really cool because it's instant torque. It's more than a brushed or brushless motor. Or no, more than a brushless motor. Um, uh, One of the worst things that frustrates me the most is the battery connector. It is crap. Watch this. See, I have to uh, turn on my receipt for the transmitter. You hear that beeping noise means it's on. Now, right now, see, it just already disconnected. Jesus Christ. Alright, now, yeah, well, you get the point. See, it works, I let go, and it stops working. It's a really shitty connector, and you're going to want to change that out. That is only about $5 to $10, depending on what you want to change it out with. Although, if you go with something like the Dean's or the Traxxas connector, that's going to be a little bit more. I personally am going to switch to the Traxxas connector because it holds on a little bit better than the Dean's. And then the Dean's, though, is a little bit better with transferring constant currents, not with spiking currents, though. The ESC, though, if you change it out, you can run a bigger battery in here. Otherwise, you're limited to 3600 milliamp battery. Only 7.2 volts. That's the maximum you can go to before you fry the ESC. Now, if you decide that you want to go with a better one, you can run something as much as a 11.1 LiPo, or that's also a 3-cell LiPo battery. You can also, if you put a Mamba Monster, which I really wouldn't advise because that would make this thing literally make it turn into a rocket. Not the best thing for drifting, but that's what you want to do. You can do that. You're going to want to replace the tires though. So depending on the size ESC you put in here, the more you can run. If you get a Mamba Monster, you can run as much as 22.2 volts or a 6-cell LiPo. Now, you do need 2 connectors for that, and that is a pain in the ass because you need to have 2 different battery packs, and they each need to be charged individually, and I hate that. I can't stand that. Next up, we have another thing that I hate is the differentials. They they lock too easily. If I want to stop one wheel from spinning, I barely need to touch it, and it'll stop spinning, and all the other wheels still rotate. It's crap. The car is actually pretty fast. I'm very impressed for the price. What you get, it's definitely worth dollar for dollar, but please keep in mind that you're gonna need to make some changes on it, because the stock setup is actually, it's pretty good for the most part, but the electronics suck. You need to change out the electronics. You need to, the first thing though is to change this connector, because this thing is crap and it overheats like crazy and it can't handle high currents. Definitely, my pick would be a Traxxas connector or a Dean's connector. You do need to have a little bit of skill with soldering it, but you can ask your local hobby shop to install it for you. And I'm pretty sure they'll do that without a problem. They might charge you an extra fee. Some of them might even do it for free. The car actually does. Yeah, the connector's absolute crap. You need to change that out. That's a very important thing you need to remember. Another thing worth mentioning is the fact that the steering radius isn't what I would like it to be. It's um, not quite as wide as you'd want for drifting, because you need to constantly make these constant adjustments. And if you're going full throttle, you're just going straight for a certain length, you can't really drift because of the fact that all the tires have traction and doesn't steer wide enough in order to change the whole direction of everything. The everything else on this setup seems to be pretty sturdy. It's very nice because it has a driver shaft rather than a belt, and there's certain cars like, for example, the Traxxas Nitro Forte. It's a phenomenal car, but it has belts on it, so you can't constantly switch gears, or you can't go forward to reverse without completely frying the engine or snapping the belts, and you can't just full throttle right off the back. Although, there's a few things you need to keep in mind when you open up the box. I'm going to say them real quick because I'm running really short on time. There's a little tube that comes inside in the package with all the instructions and stuff like that. Do not lose that. That is very important. That is the part that goes over the antenna wire to make sure that it stays straight up at all times. Well, it does seem kind of straight normally. You'd be surprised how much it moves when you turn, you do all the other shit with it. So do keep that in mind. The body looks pretty nice, actually. The body is very nice. It is missing a few details on it, but other than that, it looks great. Good job. Good job, Exceed, because it was phenomenal. It came out of the box. But please, do replace the ESC and then the connectors, because these connectors are absolute crap. And I've been repeating myself pretty much the whole time. I'm sorry about mentioning the connectors. The servos work pretty good. The dog bones seem to be pretty strong. The little, I can't remember what these things are called. Those are really loose, but it doesn't seem to have any effect. The foam thing on the front is very, very helpful. The pins are very good. The tires are great. They look very awesome with the rims. The battery is decent. The charging adapter is decent. Charger's crap. Change that out. Get a new first smart charger. You need to change out the motor eventually. It's pretty much good for everything else. But the receiver is regular, and that is it. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.